Xaduma is a talented young artist who has recently made a name for himself in the underground. Hopefully this video will help you learn a little bit more about him. Growing up in Quebec, Canada, Xaduma actually had a creative passion different from music during his youth. He said that his father was an artist and therefore Xaduma had picked up this hobby himself, mentioning that his father taught him how to draw and paint from a young age. He went on to say that his style of art varied, however he mainly did pen sketches. In regard to the music that piqued Xaduma's interest early on in life, he said that he was always a fan of electronic dance music. Xaduma's appreciation for EDM would eventually inspire him to try creating music himself at 13 years old in the year 2019. He downloaded the trial version of the music software FL Studio and began making instrumentals. It wasn't until a couple of years down the line that Xaduma started to experiment with recording his vocals. He included artists such as Juice WRLD and the Kid Laroi as being some of his biggest influences for him to start doing so. He said the outcome of his early vocal recordings weren't all that great and that he wasn't using autotune or doing any mixing during this time. This was more or less just a rough starting point for him, however he's been focusing on vocals ever since then and feels that this start is what got him to where he is today. He even said that the first song he ever made with vocals was a cover of a Kid Laroi song. By this time, Xaduma was working on music every day trying to improve and make decent songs. He said that back in 2022/early 2023 he was making hyperpop music, and although he still didn't think he was making great music then, he looks at this time period as a learning experience. At some point during 2023, Xaduma switched his musical style and started creating within the genre of super trap after being inspired by artists such as Retta and Phoenix Darko. Xaduma said that it was during his time creating super trap music that he noticed his mixing and overall performances drastically improving. By the time 2024 had rolled around, Xaduma became interested in the Crush Club genre after discovering artists such as Asteria and Kitseki. Inspired by this new style of music, Xaduma created the song titled Ascend in April of 2024. Looking back, Xaduma doesn't particularly enjoy this song anymore, however he leaves it public because some of his fans enjoy it. Moving forward, Xaduma said his life and career really changed for the better after meeting the artist known as Clover. Xaduma met Clover back when he first created the song titled Got Me, which originally featured Clover upon its initial release. Xaduma said that Clover had valued his sound and subsequently introduced him to like-minded artists/producers in the scene such as Dur, Kitseki, Wasty, 5G Swag, Proxy, Ichiko, Lunar, and many others thereafter. Following this, the song titled Bloodsucker featuring Up Vampin' was released in November of 2024. Xaduma felt that this was his first track to gain some real attention and views this release as a good milestone. The next notable release, titled with Epitome, came out in December of 2024. This was the first song that Xaduma and Epitome had ever made together, and presently these two artists are close collaborators. Xaduma said that he saw great talent in Epitome and decided to help Epitome improve on his music, knowing that they could grow substantially together as a musical duo. I speak on this a little bit more in my video about Epitome, so go check that out if it interests you. In February of this year, Xaduma released his proudest song to date titled Cluster. Xaduma was excited to release this song and he was happy to see it perform well numbers-wise. Cluster had received 10K streams in its first week, which is especially good for Xaduma considering it's a solo song. To wrap up this video, I'll briefly talk about Xaduma's most recent releases. Xaduma said the song titled Dance came about because of its French sample and Xaduma being French-Canadian. He figured that he'd just make the song for fun and it turned out good. Most recently, Xaduma uploaded the song titled Fading Away at first strictly to YouTube and his alternative SoundCloud, however now it can be found on other streaming platforms. As far as plans for the future goes, Xaduma just wants to experiment with his sound, improve his music, work with amazing new artists, and make people happy with his songs. He said if he could make one person's day or mood better because of his music, then he knows he's doing something right and that means a lot to him. Xaduma is a talented young artist and I look forward to seeing where his career takes him. Well, that's all for this video. Big shout out to Hopeless for the edit, and please subscribe for more mini documentaries on various underground artists.